Hey everybody, welcome back to NSB Custom Cars. The week went through pretty fast. Work had us covered up from people being out of work, and we're covering everybody else's area, getting home late. I wanted to get home, start on this. Just didn't happen. So it's weekend now, already nighttime on a Saturday. So as you can see, the trunk is loaded with all the parts for the car, so I gotta get all this stuff out of the trunk. I still gotta get the windshield out and finish gutting the inside of the car as far as the carpet and the steering wheel or the steering column. It's just loose laying in there. But get all this tore apart, and then we're gonna start prepping all this for paint. So here we go. So I got the trunk all cleaned out, took everything out. I've got a couple little holes that I'm gonna have to patch just right up there next to the fender, right in there. And I've got one little hole right here that I gotta fix. And the trunk pretty good. I just got to do some sanding on it. There's everything that was in the trunk, all the chrome, dry shaft. There's the steering column, which it was in the car. I just pulled it out. So we got everything on the inside of the car. Oh yeah, got the back glass out. Really nice. The track is pretty good on it. Don't have to do much repair there. Just clean it up. Got the windshield out. I'm really pleased that it's all nice. I got to clean it up a little bit. Fix to pull this dash out. That's my next spot. But we come in here, pulled the carpet out. Everything seems to be pretty decent on the rear part of the floor. But when I come up into where your feet go, we've got a lot of cheese grating on both sides. And you can see someone is already patched here. They've patched here. They've patched here. They've patched here. They've got a patch there. So we went ahead and ordered a whole new floor pan. So I got to cut this one out. Fortunately, they had at Summit a couple in stock. We got it on order. But I'm going to go ahead and push forward and start doing my door jambs. Still do the motor compartment in the trunk, because this is not going to cause no problem when I do the rest of it. Because I'm going to undercoat inside like I did my car. I spray bed liner all in these floor pans, and I'm going to do that with the new floor pan in. So I won't have to worry about really painting it. It's going to be under the carpet. But I do got to get these door jambs, all these door jambs right here cleaned and painted. And the same thing here. Get them all in around all the windows and get inside this trunk. So at this point, it's time to get this dash out and finish tearing the stuff in the motor compartment out on the firewall so I get it took care of. So I got rough cut the floorboard out, and I'm standing in the car and most of the floorboard's gone. There's still a bunch of stuff left in it. So let me go through and show you how I'm taking this floorboard out, because there's different ways you can do this, and let me show you how we do it. So pretty much the floorboard, this is your seam for the back part of the floorboard. These are what you would call your foot tray from the back seat. The back seat's here. This is where your feet would go on the back of the car. And this seam right here is where the floorboard stops. Now we're going to come all the way. The floorboard comes over here, comes up, and then sits on top of the frame. So pretty much this whole piece is the frame of the car that comes back. So we got to get all this off, which you can see where I cut this floorboard, cut all this floorboard out. And the reason I came across here, you got to stop and think. Up here, this is your seam for the front floorboard. And there's a piece of metal that bends down 90 degrees right here. And they've got this spot welded all the way through here that holds that seam on. So to get to that, I just took and cut all that out. Now, to cut it out, you got several ways. I started cutting both sides of this. I actually started on this side using my plasma cutter. Let's come in here and show you. I just started coming down through here ripping this with the plasma cutter, but it kept wanting to get in to my frame, and like cutting, I didn't want to cut through. This is what this piece here, this piece that come down, this is where your seat bolts go in, and then you got a seat bolt that goes in here. Same thing on the other side, so that holds your seat in after the floorboard's in. But I didn't want to ruin this no more, and you can even see like right in here, I was starting to cut into the frame a little bit with the plasma cutter. So I canned the plasma cutter, much as I like it. It's great for quarter panel, sheet metal stuff, but I didn't want to ruin some stuff. So I opt out, and I went to my impact gun, or not impact gun, my air hammer. Let's turn this over here. So my air hammer, I got the flat chisel, and then I've got the ripper. That ripper, you put that in, and when it starts cutting, it just cuts in. It does a really good job. So I just zipped a bunch of stuff out, and let me show you. So in this frame, we have this piece that comes across. This is your torsion bars. This is what holds your torsion bar. This is the springs, basically, that hold the front of the car up. Also, it's where the transmission comes through, and the cross member bolts to and holds the transmission in. This is really stout piece of steel. The frame over there's a stout piece of steel. So there's several ways you can do it. I can take my air hammer with a chisel and just blow this stuff off there. But I took and used my spot weld cutter and kind of get me started. And then once I get it started, I go and I can take my hammer and start peeling this back and just beat them right off. Let me show you my spot weld cutter. You can pretty much go to any of your paint shop, paint supply, stuff like that, and get these little, let me take this out. These little spot weld cutters. Pretty much is like a little bitty hole saw, and in the tip of it, in the center of it's got this little pin, and it's spring loaded. On this side, has a little screwdriver bolt in here, and you can adjust that up and down, and it's a spring in here, and this tip can only go so far. And what that's for is depth. If you just keep drilling, you'll drill right on through a piece of metal and drill a hole. But you set this to where it'll come down and just get the teeth, so you only cut through really thin piece of metal. And that's what I did here. Let me show you. As you can see here, so when this spot weld comes down, I push down on it, and it's spinning, it cut the sheet metal, this piece of sheet metal right here, and you can see it cut the hole, but it didn't cut through my big piece of metal. That way, this comes off. Now I can come back with a little grinder and just knock that off, and then we're back to nice. That's good for that. Also good for if you're taking sheet metal from sheet metal and you're trying not to go all the way through. But what I plan on doing, when you get to to this part. When I get back to the foot tray, where you put your foot, you can see the seam right here. So they got spot welds, like right here's one, right there's one, right there's one. They just go down through here, pow, pow, spot weld and all that. Now, if I go with my hammer, and let's come in here and try cutting them, this is just going to distort this piece. I don't want this piece to go nowhere. I just want this piece gone, because when the new floorboard comes back in, it'll be right back where it was. So now I can come in here with my spot weld cutter, and I could cut that, and these drop off, or I can just come in here with a regular drill and just drill them out. I don't care, because there's going to be a hole here one way or the other. Another thing is I don't have a spot welder that's going to come back here and put this floorboard in. So I need all of these holes there. So when I put the new floorboard in, I come in here and I weld these holes up and weld this piece right back in the new floorboard. I'm just going to use regular drills, find them, I'll knock them out, that piece will come out. I'll do the same thing for the seam across the front. Across this front, I'll just come in here and I'll drill all these holes through here on that spot weld all the way across both sides that I can get to. I may have to do a little air hammer, I don't know. The main frame of the car comes in and goes all the way to the front rail, which hooks to the torsion bar strut that runs across here. So there's spot welds all the way down through here, which I can just take the air hammer and knock it off. So this is going to be a little noisy. Let me show you how well this hammer pops this metal off here. So pretty much, you see, you come in, see, I got it started. There's that piece, there's that piece. And we'll come in here and we're going to cut this piece out real quick. See how that just picked that spot weld? So we're just going to keep right on down. We're just going to keep right on going with that all the way. Now they do got several spot welds right in here going through that frame. I might use my cutter to get them loose because it's really hard to get through. But we'll take this one, I'll go the same way. And that's what I was doing on this one. Coming across this, let's do a couple here. See how that peels up? It rips. I'll come back with a grinder and knock that off. So you can do this method with something that's really, really hard piece of metal, because it's not going to bend that. It's just going to distort the weakest part of the metal. When you have two pieces of this metal together and you do that, it's going to warp both pieces of metal, and I don't want to do that on some of it. So that's the reason I have to do the cut with the other. They go wild. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, 11, 12. That's 12 on one side, probably 12 on the other side. Just 24 spot welds across that. This is our new floorboard, AMD. It's a complete panel. I'm gonna get it open. I'm stopping right now on taking the rest of that floorboard out. I got an air hammer. It's getting late at night and it makes a lot of racket. I don't want the neighbors being pissed off at me about it all. So let's see what this floorboard looks like here. Big box. For a little part. Ain't much there, is it? Like nice looking.
For once, FedEx shipped something that didn't matter.
Yeah.
I probably just jinxed us.
So pretty much here's our new floorboard. There's that ridge I was talking about that goes up toward the front with the transmission hump. Now these new floorboards, I do notice that the old floorboards didn't have. Let me get this off here, out of my way. This car being a bench seat car, it had these holes here with those brackets on both sides that I was showing you that's on the frame. Now, the old floorboard didn't have these heavy duty plates put in. That's for if you want to put bucket seats in it. The other one didn't have that. So if you're gonna put bucket seats in a car, people would come in here and drill a hole. And that's kind of weak. You get in a wreck, you ain't got but 2 bolts holding you, because this is just thin sheet metal, you pull the bolts out. You need these plates put in for a bucket seat. A lot of things that people don't realize when they put bucket seats in a car where it came from a bench seat car. Everything looks nice. Let's flip this over. Grab that side. Come on up. This is the piece back here that I'm talking about that goes underneath that other one that comes on top of here. So if I drill all them holes, once I put this underneath it, I can come through there and spot weld all those holes back up, and it'll be, not spot weld, but I'll be plug welding those holes and welding it right back just like the spot weld would be there. That looks nice. The only thing I have to put on is the emergency brake cable holder that goes on the car, which it pretty much comes with. Here's that piece I was telling you that goes in. That's where the cable goes through. And also, these 2 pieces here are going to go, there's a hole right here. And these are going to weld to the back side of this. And that's what your seat belts bolt to. They'll go in here and come up through the bench seat. That's hold your seat belts in. I really don't know what they brought me in the box. Let's see what we got here. It's got to be something else. So, evidently, this box was inside the box with my floor pan. And reading this, it says a CV Camaro 67 to 69 front floor pan, full conversion. So somehow this box got dropped inside the big box with this. This part does not even belong with this. Is for a Camaro. Why that come with me? Beyond me. These pieces I do know are right. That's for this. Everybody messes up somewhere along the line. This floor pan is the correct floor pan for the car. So that's going to be all on this video. Hopefully this week I'm going to knock the rest of this out. Sorry I didn't get to do the paint on the trim. This floorboard kind of put me back, so it's going to be a couple more videos probably before you find out the color of the paint. And we'll go from there. So until next time, keep watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you after a while.